driftwood on the foreign shores, spilling out into the ocean floor, and the memories all you've left without a trace. Paralyzed with the thoughts receding, current sweeps you with the silent bleeding through the heart into the darkest place. Well, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. You see the ground as it bleeds in the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. All the secrets that you're holding, all the memories you hide, all the frail thoughts that echo in the corners of your mind, they won't even last a moment. They will soon be swept away when the ocean takes you in its arms and carries you away. You carry all your burdens on the cross around your neck. You take whatever's left that you could salvage from the wreck, and the hard past will follow you like a lost dog on the beach, nipping at your trail till you've drifted out of reach. Yeah, turn around, there's nothing to see here. Run away, no reason to be here. It's the ghost who never goes away. Turn around and leave this behind now. See the ground as it bleeds to the sky now. You fight the sea, you're always gonna drown. In the broken line horizon, in the castles made of sand, you tried to hold it in your hands, you tried to understand it. The ocean asks the questions, and it holds the answers too. It dissolves away the lies about the things you thought you knew.
Hello, my friends. 'Tis I, Dame Armiger Calirania. My heart and my sword are yours. And 'tis I, Adelath Karakai II, bastard son of a real bastard. Your hearts are mine. Welcome back to the second installment of The Sunnydale Imp by BloodRedTiger, or as named there in the chat, John Whitehead. I'm a little low on energy this morning. I have chronic sleep difficulties that make it difficult to consistently get myself up and moving at a human reasonable hour in the mornings. even though, like, if all were well with the world, I would be an early riser, I would be a morning person, I would be a lark rather than an owl. But household circumstances, health things, pet-related things all kind of conspire to both A, keep me up late, and B, make it difficult to remain asleep through the night. So I'm sometimes kind of, what? But for the sake of my friend here and trying to keep up my habits and commitments and so forth as best I can, I am trying to get at least a short stream in today, reading a chapter or two further of this fanfiction. Speaking of which, the premise here is we are in early Buffy the Vampire Slayer, first season. The gang is all together already, having their Monster of the Week kind of adventures, and the Monster of the Week this time turns out to be an original character, Mickey the Imp. Mickey the Imp is not as bloodthirsty and dangerous as a typical vampire incursion or other Buffyverse villain, but is causing trouble enough of her own. Principal Flutie has already been eaten and replaced by Snyder. Okay, so that is where we're at in the season. Okay, so post hyenas at least. Okay. The pack event has happened. Okay. I've made, like, as always, I've made some tweaks, done some tuning to my audio between streams. This is the same setup as I had for my last Gundog stream, but I didn't really get around to listening back to that VOD to see or hear if it is to my liking, so I hope that the audio is clean and clear and of a tolerable volume, and it's not picking up my every obnoxious breath sound and mouth noise. If so, I apologize. Do let me know in the chat or on Discord off stream what feedback you have for how I'm sounding. But given that this may end up being a shortish stream, I believe John has a commitment coming up. Let's get to doing some reading. Sunnydale Imp, Chapter 5, Who's the New Girl? Against all logic and reason, Xander found himself inside the grounds of Sunnydale High. He frantically turned this way and that to get his bearings. Your secret den is inside the school grounds? He demanded. Are you crazy? Mickey followed him out onto the sports field. Nobody seems to come over this side. It was close to my target, but out of everybody's way. Besides, my den is hidden underground, remember? He looked back at the clump of trees and had to admit it was a reasonably sheltered location. A good thing, too. You do know that dead demon's just lying there? Out in the open? I'll wait till night, then get rid of it. Nothing stinks quite like a dead monster. With you on that one. Yeesh. I wonder what it was doing out here in the daytime. Mickey shrugged again. Don't care. Baddies just pop up wherever. Doesn't matter. Kinda blasé there, kiddo. I do what I do. Bad guys gotta be smushed. That's what I do. A new voice cut into the conversation. Okay, so who's a Jimmy? Okay, so this is Jimmy. I don't even remember Jimmy from the show. Was that Jimmy the... Wait, was it mentioned earlier in the fic? Is Jimmy the snitch? Some sort of informant? I don't remember the character at all. We'll have Adelath here. Oh no, random NPC bot. Okay, we'll have Adelath here. Masculine character means Addykins does his thing. Thanks? Question mark? Oh, Willie. Willie is the snitch. Alright, right. Different dude name ending in Y, sure. Okay. Harris? Hey, Harris? That you working in the bushes? Xander quickly pushed his way toward the newcomer, hoping to hide Miki from view. Oh, Jimmy, I was just, hi. He desperately tried to think of a cover story, but what could he say to explain the wings and the fact she was wearing a copy of his shirt? Jimmy's gaze drifted past Xander's shoulder. Who's the new girl? Does Willow know you're getting some action on the side? Xander almost cheered. No freakout meant the Devil Girl's illusion of normalcy was active and working, which meant Jimmy was most likely seeing a normal teenage girl. This is our new exchange student from, Europe. I saw her over here and thought I'd come say hello, 'cause, we have such a similar taste in clothes. He fixed a smile on his face as Mickey stepped forward, holding out a hand. Adulath, I'll help you with it, here. There you go. Don't wear it out. Or do. Hi, I'm Mikisha Nichols. From Europe. Xander looked around and belatedly realized that Miki's quick change power had furnished her with a Catholic schoolgirl uniform. He stared for a moment before noticing Jimmy's frown. The other boy shook his head. I meant the red and black checks. I've got a lumberjack shirt just like that. Miki turned and gave a thumbs-up sign. Nice recovery. The comment got no reaction from Jimmy, who stared straight ahead. Xander raised a brow. Is this that normality thing? Jimmy blinked. What normality thing? Miki rolled her eyes and waved a hand to attract the boy's attention. Hey, Jimmy, I think it's time for your next class. I'll see you around. Yeah, I better go. He turned to leave. See you around. Xander watched him go. Your illusion thing lets you say weird stuff and nobody notices? It's not perfect, she admitted, and it only works for me. It doesn't disguise weird stuff that other people do or say. Yeah, I saw that. Thanks. He took a moment to look her up and down properly. In the daylight, she was still kind of pretty, if you ignored the tail and the horns and the wings. That said, the wings and horns were cutesy Disney versions, and her skin color was more of a red tint than actual scare devil red. I gotta say, Catholic school outfit on a devil? Totally wrong on so many levels. She gave a little twirl. Even the socks? Even the socks. And I'm pretty sure Catholic girls aren't allowed to wear boots like that. Her dark eyes flashed. Yeah, but I'm naughty. Come on, I'm gonna take a look around. In the school? Sure, I'm an exchange student, remember? She started walking, and Xander gave chase. This is a really bad idea. It's a great idea, she assured him, turning back. Are you coming back later to help with my furniture? Or do I have to come find you again? He bit back a retort. I'll try, but no promises. I'll make you some food. Sure, bribe me. Works every time. Awesome! Catch you later! She turned toward the school and disappeared. A few blinks later, Mickey was weaving her way through the corridors of Sunnydale High, letting her illusion conceal her nature from the humans. She spotted a couple of adults, but mostly Sunnydale High was full of kids, teenagers like herself. Or if not actually like herself, close enough. That was assuming she was still a teenager. She'd been 19 for a very long time, and she had a vague idea that wasn't how ages were supposed to work. Much like time travel, being apparently immortal made some things complicated. If she had been 19, but that was 8 years in the future, how old was she now? Or did that even count? She'd lost track of her actual birthdays when she was 4, and then Jack had found her and told her a bunch of years had passed and she was now 19. That seemed a lifetime ago. A lifetime ago and 2 worlds away. Not that it mattered. With the local magic powering her illusion, she could claim to be any age she wanted, and everything would be fine. She paused to study a trophy cabinet. The golden figures seemed to represent ordinary earth sports, like the throwy one and the shovey one and the one with the stick. There didn't seem to be any fighting trophies or anything regarding the use of magic. This apparently wasn't one of those magical schools she'd heard about, which struck her as odd. The magical aura here was so strong she could almost taste it. But the humans didn't seem to care. It seemed a strange place to hide a magical source. Oh, Xander eventually married a demon in canon? Is that in, like, the graphic novels? Let's see. Who is this? This might be... the principal.
You there.
She turned in surprise as a compact, pointy-faced man pushed his way through the crowd. He had strong brows and keen, deep-set eyes, and he moved with a confidence that cut its swathe through the much larger humans around him. Clearly, he was a man of power and authority.
I haven't seen you before. Who are you?
Mickey found herself smiling. I haven't seen you before either. I'm Mikisha. She batted her eyelashes.
Snyder. That is Principal Snyder.
He blushed, and Mickey grinned.
I'm the principal.
Oh, Anya! Right. I forgot they actually got married. I'm the new exchange student from Europe. They told you I was coming, right? Her statement was a complete lie, of course, and there was a moment's hesitation as the magic smoothed over the gaps in Snyder's memory.
Yes, of course.
He rallied pretty quickly.
You'll have to fill out some paperwork. Stop by my office later and we'll take down your particulars.
She chuckled. Okay.
Do you have a class schedule? You can't just wander the corridors all day.
He straightened up, and Mickey noted that he was only fractionally taller than her.
We have standards here, and rules.
You're right. I'd better get moving. I'm supposed to be this way. She stepped around the principal and continued down the corridor. Thanks. Snyder frowned to himself. There was something different about that girl, and he wasn't sure he trusted her. But gosh, what a smile. Xander was barely through the door when he ran into Buffy. The Slayer hooked an arm into his elbow and pulled him aside. She looked mad. Oh, should... Oh, okay, yeah, right, God, who played him? Should I, have Ad be more of a... more of a tiny putz? Oh, grand, yes, thank you. Absolutely, I can be small and nasally. Right. It's my favorite. Yes, I thought so! Quark! What's the actor's name? I don't remember. Was that. Wait. Armin Shimmerman? Maybe? And just where have you been all night? Not to mention some of the morning? He managed a vague shrug. You wouldn't believe it. I'm not sure I believe it myself. Spill, mister. Does it involve a certain goat-headed pygmy demon in a wooden mask? He blinked. No? Oh. She pouted a little. Well, if Giles asks, can you say it was? Otherwise, I might owe him $1.
Sure.
Seriously, though, where were you? We were all worried. I've been out searching. Even Cordelia made some concerned-sounding complaints. I was helping somebody move into their new place. Oh. Not what I was expecting. Kinda mundane and non-Hellmouthy.
You were expecting goat-headed pygmy demons.
Just one. Possibly in a tent.
Boy, am I happy to disappoint.
Buffy looked past him sharply. What was that? He turned. Uh-oh, I did it again. It's whenever I get muddled and start pushing the button when I don't need to push the button, and then I get turned around and have to correct myself, and I do it too fast, and then the programs get confused. Alright, yeah. Yeah, so Star Trek Deep Space Nine is one of the few shows that I actually remember actors' names from. At least several of them. There's Armin Shimmerman, which is Quark, and Siddig El-Fadil, who changed his name to Alexander Siddig. That is Bashir. And Colm Meaney is O'Brien. And René Auberjonois, rest in peace, is Odo. And then I run dry. I don't remember Kira's or Dax's or, unfortunately, even Cisco's. But I know a few actor names. This is pretty rare for me. I normally cannot remember an actor's name to save my life. Nanny Visitor. Right. Also a very cool name. I thought I saw a demon. She hissed. Wait here, I'm gonna check it out. Xander panicked. I'll come help you look. No, go warn Giles. I'll find out what it's after. Nana Visitor, right. She hurried off in pursuit, leaving Xander close to panic. Buffy was in full Slayer mode, and he was almost certain the demon she'd spotted was Miki. He hesitated, heart racing, but she was already gone, vanishing in the maze of corridors. Lacking any better ideas, he headed for the library. Buffy wasn't sure what she'd spotted, but for just an instant she'd glimpsed a red-tinted face through the crowd. It had pointed ears and a pair of stubby horns sprouting from its forehead. And then it was gone. Arriving at the place she'd seen it, she looked in all directions, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. It had evaded her for now, but she assumed it was headed the direction it was facing. With no other clues in sight, she headed toward the cafeteria. The corridors were emptying as kids filed into their classrooms, leaving Mickey free to explore. The few students milling around paid her no attention, so she used her blink teleport to quickly get a feel for the school, zipping point to point in a series of small jumps. Teleportation was an innate talent, or a mutant warper power, depending on who you asked. The really cool part was it didn't take much energy, magical or otherwise. The other really cool part was the split second of observation time she got upon emerging from the wormhole, before the physical universe caught up with her. She couldn't really interact with anything during that time, but it was long enough for her magical senses to triangulate the really big power source she was hunting for. It felt like it was underground, but whoever was guarding it would probably have some stairs or an elevator. She paused to get her bearings, then set off at a brisk jog. Xander shoved through the library doors and skidded to a halt. Giles!
Yes?
He was horrified to realize he'd run all the way here without thinking of something to say. The librarian's eyebrows rose in silent, questioning judgment, strongly implying that Xander had some explaining to do.
You're wondering where I was last night. I get that. It's a long story, totally not interesting. I see. And you ran in here with the specific intent of not telling it?
No. Oops, I had to... yes, Kali providing Giles' voice there for a second. Pay no attention to the VTuber behind the curtain here. No, Buffy sent me. She says she saw a demon near the soda machine. Giles blinked.
In the school? During the day? Couple of minutes ago.
Damn it. So much scuff with this thing. I'm impressed that it works as much of the time as it does. This easily as it gets out of sync. Oh well. It's fun. I hope y'all appreciate it. The Englishman looked flustered.
Well, you should get to class. I shall try to locate Buffy.
Class. Right. When it's smooth, it's really cool. Xander grimaced as Giles hurried away. He was pretty sure he could have handled that better. Demon, devil, or whatever, he'd never forgive himself if Mickey was killed on her first day of school. Hello, Roynicorn. Bringing the chat up to a feisty 4 viewers. Welcome. Giles returned to the library, frustrated and alone. A quick circuit of the main block had failed to locate his slayer, so he checked her class schedule and saw her sitting in her chemistry class, staring out the window. There was absolutely no sign of any demon, and he couldn't very well pull her out of class to ask her about it. He took off his glasses and polished them as he ducked into his small office. It was only when he emerged a minute later that he realized the library wasn't empty. Somebody was lurking in the stacks.
Hello?
He closed his hand around the crossbow under the counter. A girl emerged from the shadows, book in hand. She was quite pretty and looked a little lost.
Oh, a student, of course. Were you looking for anything in particular?
I was, but I don't think it's here. Giles' professional pride was stung.
What was it? You might be surprised.
The girl glanced around. This is all just books and stuff? Like a library?
Very much like a library, yes. It is a library, in fact. Hence the books. And the sign on the door marked library.
Right. And do you work here?
Yes, I'm Mr. Giles, the librarian.
Mikisha Nichols. I'm the exchange student from Europe.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Even Giles is susceptible to the magic enough that he does not ask, where in Europe? Awesome. You sure have some scary books in here. She let the book fall open in her hand and squinted at the pages. What's a Galrock demon? Giles cursed inwardly, but put on his best poker face.
A work of superstition and fiction, dreamed up by over-imaginative scholars in the Middle Ages.
Thankfully, the girl seemed to accept his explanation easily enough. He'd have to have a word with Willow about locking up the Watcher resources after years. He looks fun, the girl said, tilting her head. I like the tusks. You don't see many of those. Giles raised an eyebrow.
Tusks are quite rare, yes.
The girl blinked, looking mildly perturbed. You heard me say that? Ah. So not 100% susceptible. Alright, I need to take a bit of a drink of water, and then we will move on to the next chapter. John, do keep me apprised of your available time. If it's getting close to when you need to skedaddle to get ready for your prior engagement, let me know and I'll wind things down. As always, Runicorn, there is no such thing as being late to a stream that you were not obligated to attend, that is not even on any schedule, and it goes live with, 5 to 10 minutes notice usually. Okay. Sunnydale itself also has a mind screw field. The normality field only works on what the listener considers normal. That's possible, yeah, because Giles, is much more well acquainted with these things than Principal Snyder. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it stops you hearing anything out of the ordinary, but out of the ordinary ways from this person to person. Got 40 minutes. Okay. So, should be good for one more chapter. Chapter 6, That Happens a Lot. Vicky bit her lip as the librarian's frown deepened. This plan wasn't going at all well. Either something was messing up her illusion, or these people's idea of normal included some very not normal things. Was it the magic saturating the area? Did the illusion fade when she took in magic from the atmosphere? She'd never really tested it except around Jack, and he was immune to the illusion's effect anyway. Perhaps this guy had some kind of immunity, too. He probably knew about the big magic thingy, since his library was right on top of it. Maybe it was a big secret, and he was a guardian. She had to make a decision fast. Was this guy a kill the intruder guardian, or a raise the alarm guardian? She was pretty sure she could handle whatever they threw at her, but did she really want to start a fight here? She wished Jack were here. He'd know what to do. After a moment's hesitation, she decided that a fight was probably a bad idea. That meant she had to get out of here and away from the Guardian without raising any more suspicion. Then she could sneak back later. She decided to play the I am normal card. I'm just glad you can understand me, she lied. I'm from another country, so I wasn't sure my speaking would be good enough.
I see. Well, your accent is certainly unusual, but it's far from impenetrable. I'm sure you couldn't mangle the English language any more than some of our students.
She didn't know what that meant, but her ploy seemed to have worked. Time to make her escape. I have to go someone else now. Someplace else now. Yes, I too can English.
Very well. If I may?
He held out a hand for the book, and Mickey handed it over on her way out. Giles frowned to himself. He'd traveled Europe extensively in his youth and never encountered an accent anything like the one he'd just heard. If anything, the harshly bitten consonants and sharp sibilants put him in mind of something ancient and demonic. And just now, the story is informing me as to what sort of accent I should be giving Mickey. Harshly bitten consonants and sharp sibilants. And somehow I need to do that while being high-pitched and cute. I will give it my best shot. Oh Lord, was that the demon Buffy had spotted? The girl had looked perfectly normal, but the Slayer's senses were supposed to see through such things in order to identify vampires in human form. Buffy had never been especially sensitive in that regard, but anything was possible given the circumstances. Assume it's hidden by the illusion? Even to the entire audience of the stream that knows what Mickey is? He began mentally listing human-looking demons to investigate. Hopefully Buffy would have some information that would allow him to narrow down his search and find out what they were dealing with. Later, in the teacher's lounge, he overheard Mrs. Baxter demanding to know who was messing with her photocopier. She showed a page to Dr. Clark, who shrugged and moved away without comment. I swear, it was readable before it went into the machine. She spotted Giles heading for the kettle and made a beeline to intercept. Oh, Mr. Giles, you have a photocopier in the library, right?
Actually, yes. Is there a problem?
Mrs. Baxter worked in the administration office and always made a point of securing the best equipment for herself. She shoved a piece of paper at him. Look at this, it's gibberish. The form was a standard template enrollment form, covered with sharp angles and strange curves. He raised a brow.
It is indeed. Could I see the original?
That is the original. Giles took the page back to the library, having settled Mrs. Baxter down with a cup of tea and promising he'd do his best to somehow fix the offending document. It was in English, the woman had insisted. I watched her fill it out, and then I checked that everything was right. And then she left and I made a copy, and the copy was this. I assumed the copier was broken and maybe she'd used a special pen or something, but then I looked at the original and it's the same. What was the description of the accent again? I want to see if there's something similar in Europe. We have some cursed pronunciations here. So very clipped, sharp consonants, and kind of drawn out sibilants. Very snaky and demonic.
A special pen? Like invisible ink? Some kind of prank?
He'd seized on the more rational explanation, and Mrs. Baxter's dismay had rapidly turned to outrage, demanding to know who'd do such a thing to that poor sweet little European girl.
Yes, quite.
He'd agreed.
Kids today can be so cruel.
She looked him in the eye. They're little monsters is what they are.
Yes, that's what I'm afraid of.
Mickey hummed to herself as she wandered out of the gym. The machines looked complicated and the weights weren't worth her time. But she was delighted to discover the school had a swimming pool. Nobody was using it, and she had Snyder's permission to look around. So the staff hadn't objected to her having a quick swim, after which she felt pretty good. Rather than mess around getting dry, she had simply walked into the changing room and manifested herself a new set of clothes. The magic took care of the rest. She'd put the library encounter behind her and set about finding out what other diversions this fascinating place had to offer. She thought for a moment before settling on a plan. Willow, Buffy, and Xander filed out of biology class and met up in the corridor. As soon as the hubbub died down, both girls opened their mouths to speak. Xan, did... Willow flushed and clamped up. Oh, you go first. No, what were you going to say? Before either girl could say any more, a blonde-haired boy barged between them.
Willow?
He passed her a note.
Snyder's office. Now.
He flashed a smirk at the three as he left. Willow flushed even more. Principal Snyder? But I haven't done anything. Xander tried to rein in the panic attack before it got properly started.
He probably just wants you to help some lunkhead jock scrape his grades out of the gutter.
She pulled a face. Again? Buffy patted her shoulder. It's probably nothing. Or nothing hellmouthy anyway. Xander smiled.
I'll come with, for emotional support.
Buffy nodded. I need to find Giles. Meet at the library? And with that, she was gone. Willow turned her attention to Xander as they started to walk. So you haven't told me where you were last night. We were worried. Buffy cut class to go look for you.
I know. I've already had to do the whole apology explainy thing.
Not to me. I was worried too, you know. Xander held his hand to his heart.
Will, I'm sorry. I should have realized that you guys would worry, but I didn't. I am a jerk, and I apologize. It won't happen again. Probably.
She pouted a little and looked away. You still haven't told me where you were. Cordelia chose that moment to butt in, neatly derailing the conversation with one of her own. Her gaggle of sycophants fell into position around the pair. Xander? The cheerleader always made his name sound like a disease. Jimmy Hollins says you were in some bushes with some new exchange student. It was Xander's turn to flush.
Near some bushes. Or, more accurately, trees. And yes, she looked lost, so I said hello.
Cordelia ignored his protests and turned her attention to Willow. Whatever. I need to find her, because apparently she's walking around in some dorky school uniform. Can we say fashion disaster? She looked the girl up and down. Well, of course you can. I've got to educate this new girl pronto. The last thing this school needs is another loser. She whirled back to Xander. What's she look like?
Huh?
The new girl? What does she look like? His jaw fell open. He couldn't tell her the truth, but at the same time he had no idea what Mickey's illusion of normalcy looked like.
Black hair, probably. Short?
Cordelia stared for a moment. That's it? Short black hair? Fine, I'll find her without your help. She stormed off before he could correct her, followed by her crowd of sneering minions. Xander watched them go, pulling a face once their backs were safely turned. When he turned back to Willow, she was looking at him with a hurt expression. An exchange student? In the bushes? You never mentioned an exchange student. Or bushes.
It wasn't like that,
he repeated.
It's been an eventful morning, what with class and interrogations, and now here we are almost outside Snyder's office.
He artfully derailed the conversation, and Willow let out a whimper. Wish me luck. She did it for a moment, then went in. The secretary waved her straight through, which was ominous. He's expecting you. Okay, thanks. She knocked once, then walked in. She found Principal Snyder standing behind his desk, a smile on his face and a sparkle in his eye as he recounted some funny story for a visitor. He froze as Willow entered and quickly adopted a more professional pose. All right, Adelath, remember, small and weaselly.
Right. Small and weaselly. Ms. Rosenberg, finally. How's that?
Love it. His voice resumed its normal contemptuous tone.
This charming young lady is Miss Nichols, an European exchange student from Europe. She requires a guide to show her around the school and help her work around any problems that might arise due to the difference in language or culture.
Willow and the girl exchanged a glance. She was pretty in a non-classical way Willow couldn't quite explain. Her hair was jet black, pulled into extravagant spiky bunches that floofed out behind her head. She was also wearing a Catholic school uniform, much as Cordelia had described, although she hadn't mentioned the tall black boots. Tell the truth, I got to wear my own tall black boots last night. It was a good time. It was the first time I'd really gotten to wear them such that they were on full display. Usually I have to kind of wear them underneath my jeans, but I had a pair of leggings that actually worked with them. Moth and I went thrift shopping ahead of an event. We went to see a traveling troupe that does Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems and gives out cocktails to go with each of them. It was a lot of fun. And of course, it being an Edgar Allan Poe thing, everybody dressed up gothy to attend. Not like literally everybody, but probably 80% of the room was in something gothy, or at least dark, right? It was fun. Snyder put his hands on his hips.
I've chosen you for the job, obviously. I want you to make sure she gets any remedial tutoring she requires to get her up to speed. During that time, you will keep her out of the clutches of certain delinquent elements. Do I make myself clear?
She blinked. You mean Buffy?
I see we understand one another.
He flashed his guest a sickly smile. Xander's eyes practically bugged out as Willow led the girl out of Snyder's office and into the corridor.
Miki?
He pushed away from the wall he was leaning against and hurried over. The girl's dark eyes sparkled.
Xander, we meet again.
Willow quirked a brow. She'd already deduced that this was the girl everybody was talking about, but Xander's behavior was all wrong and highly suspicious. She turned to the new girl and blinked in surprise. Xander's description had been black hair, short, but he hadn't meant short black hair. Oh, wow, you're tiny. I mean, in a cute way, not in a small way that belittles or makes fun of. Don't worry about it, smirked the new girl, and just imagine if I wasn't wearing my boots. Willow looked down and blanched. The boots in question had platform soles and block heels that added at least 3 inches. Non-regulation clothing, she gasped. There are rules, regulations even. Principal Snyder. No, he's cool with them. I said he should get some for himself, and he said he'd think about it. Xander laughed, but it sounded nervous.
At least now Buffy won't be the shortest person in the room.
Willow bit her lip. Snyder says I have to keep, Mickey away from Buffy. She's a bad influence, apparently.
That's probably not a bad idea.
The girl took hold of Willow's hand and led her away with a surprising strength. We're going for an early lunch, she announced, narrowing her eyes. I smell food. Xander started after them, but stopped.
The cafeteria doesn't open for another 20 minutes.
Mickey called back from over her shoulder. That's what makes it an early lunch. I have a permission thingy from Snyder. Willow gave Xander an apologetic shrug as she was dragged away. Once they were out of sight, Mickey released Willow's hand and slowed down a little.
Man, these corridors are long when you've only got little legs. Yeah. It's probably to make room for all the, rooms. Mickey is 4'8". I'm Mikisha, by the way. Mikisha Nichols. My friends call me Mickey. Willow. Willow Rosenberg. My friends call me, Willow. So, you're good at this schooling stuff. Snyder seemed to think you were the best. Actual praise? He said that? Yeah. She sniffed the air, then turned left. So, who's this Buffy I keep hearing about? She sounds fun. Oh, she is, but sometimes things happen and it ends up with Buffy in trouble, and it's totally not her fault. Mikisha grinned. Sounds like me. Jack says keeping me out of trouble is a full-time job. Jack? My legal guardian. He's cool. Oh. They walked the rest of the way in silence. Mikisha's permission slip mollified the cafeteria staff, who grudgingly allowed them to line up for food. A small group of boys from the football team were already eating, and the girls attracted a few curious glances. Mikisha hesitated at the selection, and Willow launched into helpful guide mode. If there's anything you don't recognize, let me know. Okay, what's that? She pointed immediately at the first thing on offer. That's meatloaf. Do you have meatloaf for your film? Where are you from, by the way? I can't believe I forgot to ask. Meatloaf. I think I've heard of it. But I've only ever seen loaves made of bread. She squinted at the meaty slabs. Can I try it? Sure, you just pick up one of these trays with the neat little compartments and, here, like me. Willow held out her tray and the scowl-faced women ladled out a selection of food. Mikisha's face lit up with delight. Oh, food trays. Like in prison. Cool. Willow's eyes went wide. Prison? She echoed, a note of panic creeping into her voice. I've seen them on TV. Or are prisons different here? Oh, no. That's right. I misunderstood what you're saying. The new girl gave her a warm smile. That happens a lot. Alright, so that's 2 chapters done. Probably that's about as much as we can manage before you've got to go, right, John? Not a terrible amount. And next one's shorter. I don't know if it's like 10 minutes short. Guests can wait. But I was late getting started for stream. I had to take a nap. I don't think it's this. Guests are usually late for stuff. Okay. I can do one more if you're okay. Chapter 7, A Viable Hypothesis. Mickey followed Willow to a table in the corner, and they both plunked their trays down. Never overburdened with patience, Mickey already had a slice of the meatloaf in her mouth as they sat. What animal is this? She asked. Meatloaf? It's school cafeteria food, so nobody really knows. In the outside world, it would be pork,
But that's risque for me, so I pretend I don't know. Risque? That's an odd word to use here. Also, pork meatloaf is a little bit unusual. I would probably have expected it most of the time to be ground beef. Though maybe you can probably do it with a blend. I'll have to ask my wife. She's skilled with the meatloaves. She can tell me what kind of meat she usually gets for it, but I'm pretty sure it's lean ground beef. maybe this is John's cultural overseas exchange student issues of his own. Yeah, no meatloaf here in the UK. Meatloaf is a dump in whatever, add some jam. Doesn't normally have jam in the States either. Well, okay. You can do a kind of compote with... I guess it's sort of a tomato jam, sure. I normally see it with like chili sauce, though. Or ketchup. Mostly zoo animals, some filler. Oh no. So, Okay, so John, what is risque supposed to mean here? Literally added strawberry jelly to her meatloaf. Okay, like I don't doubt it. But again, I think that's unusual, like talking about the United States style of meatloaf. Because you're also European. Willow's Jewish. Okay. So I was wondering if that was the direction that this is going, but risque is still a weird word. Normally risque has the connotation of being like sexy or you know, the stuff that this guy gets into.
Oh, please. I go far beyond risque.
Yeah, it's sort of inappropriate. I guess that's the way it comes out to. But anyway. Sorry, I shouldn't be critiquing. But I get that, once again, we had a little bit of that last stream. It's hard to hold back. I am a writer myself, and I have even been a tutor and a teacher of writing at points in my life, so it's hard to... Yeah. Yeah, suggestive over bordering on indelicacy or impropriety. Yeah, like, I would say denotatively it's not literally wrong. It's just like the connotations of it and the way people normally use that word, it seems very strange. It seems like there's something erotic about meatloaf or about pork being in meatloaf. Yeah. Okay, you think that might show up in a Joss Whedon script from the 90s? All right, maybe. All right. I will. Objection withdrawn. Okay. That probably meant something important, but Miki drew a complete blank. To cover her lack of reply, she shoved a couple more meat slices into her mouth and chewed slowly. I'm Jewish, offered Willow by way of explanation. Miki swallowed. I don't think I know what that is. Willow stared, looking a little perplexed. It's like a religion? Like, I'm assuming you went to a Catholic school, right? Another word she didn't know. She shrugged and left the question unanswered. They ate in awkward silence for a while longer. So, Willow gestured with a fork. That's quite a big tray of no salad you got there. Miki had an excuse ready prepared for that one. I'm on a special diet. Mostly meat. And now, meatloaf. She snagged another slice with her fingers and took a bite. Pork is piggies, right? Yes. You can't see Buffy or Xander using it that way, but you can see Willow or Giles using it like, okay. Okay. I'd buy it. I like this. It has no bones. Is all your food this good? Most of it is, I guess. You want a soda? Uh-oh. I probably should have taken a short break at the chapter mark, because now the dog is asking to go outside again. He's been in and out several times this morning and not really done anything, so I suspect he is finally realizing that there is business he's meant to attend to when he's outside. I will be back in, hopefully, just a few minutes. Alright. The title of that track was completely garbled on there. I wonder if it's in Japanese or something, maybe? I'll have to look at what that music file is. It's just a collection of no copyright music tracks from CC Mixter, I think. I don't even know if that site is still around. Anyway, catching up on the chat. Yep. You can see Xander had the exact same reaction. Are you sure that's the word you meant to use? Yeah. Alright. We're asking Miki if she wanted a soda. Yes, okay. She shook her head regretfully. I'm not allowed sugary stuff. Or caffeinated stuff. They make me crazy. She grinned to show she wasn't upset about the rule, and Willow gave her a nervous smile in response. No sugar, huh? No wonder you're so, not fat. Mickey grinned. This red-haired girl was kind of fun. Obviously really smart, but cute and shy in a charming sort of way. She was just so adorably innocent. I don't need sugar. My guardian says I'm sweet enough as it is. Willow blinked. Guardian? Oh, right. Jack, was it? Yeah, he looks after me. Keeps me out of trouble, that sort of thing. You don't have any parents? She tilted her head. I did have, but that was a long time ago. Ancient history. Jack's all I need. Or he would be, if he were here. She sighed and rested her chin on her hands. I've been here days, and he hasn't shown up yet. I hope he's not going to be a long time this time. Willow nodded, pretend frowning. He'd better not, because who's going to keep you out of trouble? Mickey's grin returned a little wider. Who do you think? She waggled her eyebrows at her new friend, who shook her head in panic. Oh no, I'm just here for the schooling and the tutoring and maybe a little mentoring. Once you're all caught up, it'll be classes as normal. That could take a while, though. Willow looked scared. Why? I've never actually been to a proper school before. You were homeschooled? Maybe. I don't know what that is. I've had training mostly, but I never did any schooly things. The things with the big words. Big words like geography and biology and chemistry? Yeah, I can speak languages pretty well, though. And I can count. And I can read. A bit. She tilted her head. I like books with pictures. Willow was pale, her eyes wide. She probably hadn't planned on spending so much time away from her friends, and now Miki felt bad. She sighed. I'm sorry. Maybe this is a bad idea. Willow rallied slightly. No, we can work with this, maybe. Let's focus on the skills you have and work from there. What languages do you speak? A tricky question. If her natural magic was working properly, she could speak and understand any language, but wouldn't necessarily recognize that she was doing it. I've been told I speak all languages equally badly. She smiled and decided to change the subject. But enough about me. Who's this Buffy I keep hearing about? The way Snyder spoke, she sounds like my kind of trouble. A bell rang before Willow could answer, and kids began pushing into the room. Xander barged in at the head of the crowd, and quickly located Miki sitting over in the corner with Willow. He had to warn the devil girl before Buffy showed up. and he had a cunning plan. He walked over and pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket.
Hey, Will. Hey, Mickey. Snyder said to give you this important note.
Oh, okay, thanks. Mickey unfolded the page and frowned at it. Xander bit down his panic reflex.
I think he said it was private?
Mickey sighed and rolled her eyes. Okay, I can do this. Xander stared in horror before snatching the note back out of her hands.
You can't read?
It's difficult. I'm still learning. He leaned over and whispered in the girl's pointed ear.
Buffy can see you. That's bad.
He glanced at Willow and caught her scowl. I thought you said the note was private.
Yes, I did, and that part was true. The part I lied about was saying it was from Snyder.
Willow's scowl melted into a naughty smirk. Passing secret notes to the new girl. Is this a new crush? Does Buffy know?
I sure hope not.
Mickey saved him from having to explain more by standing up. It's getting crowded in here. Let's go find someplace quiet. She abandoned her tray and headed for the nearest door. Hey, wait for me! Willow slung her bag over her shoulder, grabbed her dessert pot, and hurried away, pausing to give Xander an apologetic look. Dessert pot. Also an unusual term to find in a high school cafeteria in the US. Dessert pot. In fact, I literally don't think I've ever heard that term at all. Other than in, like, cooking context. Crude guys pointing. Uh-oh. Should I have added microaggressive sexism to the list of content warnings? I'm going to get the whole list in there belatedly. Is it probably one of those like a little cup pudding or something? Yeah, maybe that's a British name for that sort of thing. It's a Jello brownie or pudding. Not micro. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Here we go. All right, Xander shrugged.
Girl's crazy. What you gonna do?
He turned and headed for the lunch line, where he was immediately accosted by Larry and a few others. He forced a smile as the boys moved into a loose semicircle.
Larry? Guys? Making a move on the new girl, huh, Harris? I hear she's from Europe. She's an exchange student, yeah? She looks kinda young,
commented Kevin.
Is she old enough for high school?
Larry grinned.
The closer the bone, the sweeter the meat. Harris knows when he's onto a good thing. Sweet little Catholic chick. Better make that move, Harris, and make it stick. Because when she meets a real man, pow!
He grinned even wider.
Little thing like that, she won't know what hit her.
Sunnydale hijacks recruit assholes until Buffy flipped one of them over her shoulder and back first onto a table. Xander bit his lip and pushed through the group. Oh, yeah. Just forgot to swap to me for their moment there.
Very nice, guys. Use your charm, that's sure to work. And she's not young, she's small.
When he looked around, Larry and Kevin were headed for the exit. Okay, that was not as bad as it could have been, given what y'all were saying there. Buffy rushed into the library and found Giles surrounded by a pile of old books. Big surprise. I'm getting really sick of these sneaky demons, she announced. Giles looked up, raising a brow. Buffy paced in front of the desk as she thought aloud. First the no-show with the camping pygmies, then this one in the school. One glimpse, and then it ducked into a crowd of kids. She trailed off and stopped pacing. It ducked. Or did it? Giles! She wailed on the librarian, who flinched. You have a theory, I take it? Oh, wait. This was Giles saying that.
You have a theory, I take it.
It didn't duck. It was hidden by the crowd because it's shorter than the kids.
Right.
It's the same critter. Corridor hiding demon is camping pygmy demon. Larry is a closeted gay man who possibly has a crush on Xander. Okay. Giles took off his glasses.
A viable hypothesis. I had an unusual encounter myself earlier. An exchange student, apparently. She had a most peculiar accent.
Buffy rolled her eyes. So she's from Europe, with the weird traditions and strange languages. What's the problem? Giles handed her the paper he'd been studying, and she cast a cursory glance over it. The printed document was a student transfer document. She'd had one similar when she started at Sunnydale last year. She hadn't covered hers in angular scrawl, however. She spotted a familiar design at the bottom of the page, the sigil thing from the boot prints. Oh hey, there's our bath mat guy again. What am I looking at?
Well, it's a student transfer form.
I can read that part, Giles. I mean, what's with the scribble and the satanic signature? She resumed her pacing. Girl comes here from the old country, brings along a tiny demon bodyguard. Maybe she only summons it when she needs it, like, filling out boring forms? Giles finished cleaning his glasses and put them back on.
While I can't imagine which old country you're referring to, the symbols on this page appear to be a corrupted form of the Enochian language, with a lot of cultural drift.
Enoch what?
Claimed to be the language of angels, sometime around the 16th century. See here, she wrote her name in English, but then switched to this other script. The shapes are recognizable, but all the grace is gone from the symbols.
So you know what language it is, yay, Giles. Did you translate any of it yet?
Well, yes, I've had some success. Paraphrasing, it essentially says, I come in peace, I am a mighty warrior, have no fear, I will protect.
So I was right. New girl's got a tiny demon bodyguard. Giles frowned.
I suspect the connection may be something more direct. The English writing is the same handwriting as the demonic script, and I'm fairly sure her accent was less European and more, well, hellish. It's possible she is possessed, or worse.
Worse?
Mrs. Baxter read this page and found it perfectly legible until she was outside the girl's influence, which suggests a spell or glamour. If this Makisha is using a glamour to appear human, it's possible she could be something else entirely.
Buffy tilted her head. This new girl, how tall was she?
Remarkably petite, now you mention it.
So our pygmy demon is posing as a student, and hey, she comes in peace. That's new.
Yes, rather. Assuming this note is to be believed.
I'll track her down and have a quiet word.
Do be careful. Demons can overreact violently when their cover is blown.
I think I can handle it. She headed for the door and called back over her shoulder. At least it's not vampires this time. Willow hurried to catch up as Miki strode away from the cafeteria. The foreign girl looked nervous, warily looking around as though she expected to be attacked any moment. You shouldn't worry about Xander, she said by way of reassurance. He sometimes gets a little annoying, but he doesn't mean anything by it. Miki shot her a blank look, then pushed a classroom door open and dragged her inside. Once inside, she slammed the door and scanned the empty room. Willow had seen Buffy acting the same way when she was stalking vampires. You're not worried about Xander, are you? It's something else. Mickey didn't reply, instead standing on tiptoe and peering out through the tiny window. Willow was rapidly getting nervous herself. Is it something else? Is somebody after you? Is it a vampire? Mickey made a dismissive noise. Shh! I'm not scared of vampires. She slowly turned. Wait! You know about the vampires? Willow took a half step back. Well, no, right? Because vampires aren't real. Pshaw! Mickey rolled her eyes and went back to looking out the window. Not buying it, huh? Okay, well, how do you know about the vampires? The girl didn't budge. You first. My friend Jessie got turned last year. That got the girl's attention. Ouch! That sucks. What happened? I'm not really supposed to talk about it. Mickey pulled a face. I already know about the vampires and all the other creepy stuff crawling around this town after dark. Willow wrestled with herself. Should she tell this strange little girl about Buffy? You're not scared of vampires, but it looks like you're hiding from something here in the school. I am, but I'm not going to tell you who. She opened the door and slipped out, leaving Willow alone and confused. So it's a who? Not a what? Alright, and there we definitely need to stop. Because it has been well over 40 minutes, I think, since John said that he had 40 minutes. But thank you for sharing your story with us, John, and I will continue to plan to bring it live once a week until we get to the end of it. For the rest of y'all, I will try to get live sometime during this week for Stories from Soul, the Gun Dog. Most likely is Thursday, but there is a possibility, depending on how things shake out, that I might try to get it live Tuesday instead. That would be Wednesday morning, or Tuesday very late for y'all European folks. Yeah. Whatever it is, until then, live with honor, and your heart is unassailable. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. Explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. adventure.